everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. Nice to have you with us. I'm Bill Pucko, Tariq Spence in the middle, Pat Duffy on the end, ready to talk a little sports with you. So, let me go to you first, Tariq. We've had, I call them the COVID games. It's different things that have been kind of forced on us due to the coronavirus that sports has been getting through their seasons for. Are there any of these things and I bring this up because Tuesday night football with the Bills seems to be a thing now. Is there any of these things that you see sticking around and things you like?
Yeah, Tuesday night football. I don't mind Tuesday night football. The problem I have with Tuesday night football, and Duffy can allude to this a little bit later or in this segment, is the short notice. I can't stand the short notice. The fact that you're telling a team, oh, by the way, you have 2 more days to prepare, but the other team who didn't play last week has, 3 more days to prepare for you and is well rested, whether they're dealing with COVID or not, is what's going to throw off a lot of teams in the NFL. Tuesday night was a true testament to the rest of the NFL, how to prepare for a Tuesday night game when you're supposed to be playing on Sunday.
Pat?
Yeah, I'm no good on Tuesday Night Football, and I'll tell you why. Based on what happened with the Bills, obviously. But my whole week's thrown off now. My whole week is completely messed up. Like, I guess I would be okay with sitting back and enjoying other teams for a little while, like punching in on the game for maybe 20, 30 minutes. But if that's my team playing Tuesday Night Football, like, there's an ebb and flow to Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, right? Like, Tuesday, I forgot it was Wednesday until it was Friday, but it turns out it was Saturday. Like, my body is completely backwards. Plus, I don't know about you guys, but like when my team plays in a big game, my adrenaline gets cranking. I can't go right to sleep when that game's over. I was up until 1:30 in the morning, having to get up at 2:45. God, it was the worst. No, I hate it. Like, we found with Thursday Night Football that there was oversaturation before sports went away, right, in regular seasons. If you do this on Tuesday night, the NFL is just hurting a product and creating an imbalance in the schedule with other teams.
Still, I find myself having gotten used to Thursday night football. I didn't like it either. And I really think if the NFL put their mind to scheduling these things in and around the bye so the teams are getting their proper rest, they could play Thursday. I'm used to it now, and I think they could, and who says they won't do it, play on Tuesday.
Here's why I'm big on Tuesdays. They think, to Duffy's point, they want to expand the schedule anyway. So they want to lengthen out the season. They want to give more rest for players. They're going to put in a second bye. I think they want to try to push the Super Bowl to President's Day. This gives them every bit of time to maximize the weekend. What's on Tuesday nights? Really, what were you going to watch, Duffy, or do on Tuesday night?
Yeah.
I missed Jeopardy on Tuesday, and I was not happy about that, but that's a whole other thing.
We missed Jeopardy too, and we survived.
So, Pat, is there anything else you like? We've seen baseball. I think baseball has gotten a lot of things right. Is there anything else that you would keep from this experimental season?
I'll tell you what I really enjoyed when it came to the NBA and the NHL was back-to-back games. And I know that's impossible to do the whole season, but if you're going to do a kickoff weekend, or if you're going to do, a race towards a playoff, or even like something coming out of an all-star break with the NHL and NBA, give me a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like you would March Madness, of just games from 10 o'clock in the morning until midnight to get me amped up. Because I missed hockey and I missed basketball, but there was something about all of those games all the time where there was not a minute I was missing. I loved it. I would love to have that again next season.
It was super packed, though. The fact that you had to basically say, all right, what's on tonight? I have baseball, I have hockey, I have basketball tomorrow. So it was super packed. It'll never happen again. Hopefully we won't be in another pandemic again. But I agree with Duffy. Every night there was something to watch. And then by Saturday, you had college football. Obviously, you have NFL football Monday, Sunday and Monday, and now Tuesday. And then we rest on Wednesday, and we're right back at it. But there's something tonight. So there's something going on each night for sports to cover in that calendar.
You know what I also like, in the same vein in baseball, I'm going to handle some of this in my unfinished business, but playing these baseball playoff series in consecutive days, this is baseball in its purest form. The Yankees couldn't throw Garrett Cole at you 4 times in a 5-game series because they were playing every day, just like they do in the regular season. And it catered to a team like Tampa Bay, whose strengths are, its depth and versatility, and it played right into their hands.
But it hurts a team like the Dodgers, who can't throw Clayton Kershaw, whose back spasms could actually need an extra day. So now the Dodgers, depending on where we are when this airs, are in trouble because he doesn't get an extra day to rest the back, and you can't put him in game 2 or game 3. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
Well, speaking of Tuesday night, we're going to talk Buffalo Bills next. This is the Rochester Press Box. We'll be back.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay & Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. Look, we won't spend as much time or any more time than we need to on what happened to the Buffalo Bills on Tuesday night. But I never bought into the narrative that the Tennessee Titans were at a big disadvantage because they had to adjust their practice schedule. I thought Buffalo had to deal with just as many things and weren't as well rested. Pat, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, 100%, right? You have a team, like, it shows what rest can do for an NFL team. Like, the Titans were seriously banged up in the week that they would have been going in to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they had time to sit down and rest. Meanwhile, the Bills lost Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White, and John Brown in the week before they had to play the Titans. Look, I mean, it's a loss. It's a loss. It's over. It's no excuse. Fine, whatever. But yes, the Bills were at a sincere disadvantage. And, oh, by the way, we're coming to your house after you've been able to sit for 16 days. I was very upset with the fact that the game was even played. And then this idea that, oh, the Bills aren't what we thought they were. No, like, how do you judge a team based on what they just had to go through?
I think it's unfair. It's unfair for the Bills. They had to readjust their schedule. Sean McDermott is a taskmaster and always keeps his schedule extremely tight. If I tell you 3 or 4 days before you're going to play a game that you're not going to play that game, you're going to play it 3 days later, it throws the entire system off whack. I actually think it's going to have an effect in the Kansas City game. I'm not sure if Buffalo is going to be ready to come back with Kansas City coming off of that loss to the Raiders last week. So this is going to be a really tough week for the Buffalo Bills to get over it very quickly, get your offense back going, find out what happened in defense. But to Duffy's point and to everybody's point, Tennessee had a week. They had like a little extra bye, basically, when you have 4, 5, 6 players who don't play, and then you have your other 50 players who get to heal up and play. They were itching to play on Tuesday night.
All right, Pat, start with you. Kansas City is going to be about a 3-point favorite, which you have to look at the Buffalo Bills thinking a year after the year that Kansas City had, they're within 3 points of this team. How do you see the game?
I think the Bills, I like the Bills for this game, and I'll tell you why. Like, as much as a disaster as that Titans game was, it was a complete disaster. I get more worried about football teams that have one thing go wrong over and over again. Overall, the defense isn't great, but every week it's a different reason why the defense isn't great. That game, Derrick Henry and the Titans, it was the first game he didn't rush for 100 yards. They shut him down pretty well. Ryan Tannehill didn't come close to throwing for 300 yards. That's what the Bills had given up the last couple of weeks. It was short field every single time. Even the Bills Super Bowl teams went out and got shut out in prime time. There was a game in 91 where they lost 33-6 in prime time to the Kansas City Chiefs, went to the Super Bowl and went 13-3. I think the Bills bounced back just fine, and I think this is more of a statement game now for the Bills than it was for the Chiefs coming off that loss against Las Vegas.
I think for the Chiefs, this is going to be one of the rebound games. I think they thought they could they can get into a shootout with the Raiders, and they didn't. They do have to travel. That's going to be tough for them. I'm not quite sure how well they're going to handle that, but I can't see the Super Bowl champions losing 2 games in a row. For the Buffalo Bills, I was kind of shocked they lost on Tuesday. I thought they'd make it a closer game. I thought they'd actually win the game against Tennessee. I want to know if they're able to bounce back this quickly. I know it's a Monday night game, but I just think Kansas City is not going to let 2 in a row go.
You know, a guy that we haven't talked about since early on is Star Lotulelei. And I wonder, with the way the defense is playing, is how much of this, and we said it at the time, we may learn to appreciate what this guy meant to the Buffalo Bills by how they play without him.
Sure, but I mean, I don't know how much of it is the rushing game, right? Like, it's a tight end one week, it's a rushing game the other week. They're finding ways to plug the holes, but in doing it, they're opening other holes. And to Tariq's point, you don't see the Chiefs losing back-to-back games. Last season, when they won the Super Bowl, after starting 4-0, they dropped 3 of their next 4. I mean, it's in Mahomes for it. It could happen. It's possible, and I like the Bills on Sunday. I do.
Yeah, pick it for me, will you, Pat?
Bills, no cover.
Chiefs by 7.
I like Kansas City by 10. I think they're in relatively the same position the Bills are, except they've played kind of 2 soft games in a row. Kansas City's I think is going to rally and come back. This is the Rochester Press Box. Big game ahead. That's on Monday night, by the way. Where the Rochester Press Box, like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falcon Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. This segment of the Press Box, like it or not, is brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared with less. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. Like it or not, Tariq, what happened to the New York Yankees?
As a Mets fan, yeah, I like it. But as a Yankee fan, I've got to be devastated by this. This was a feast or famine home run hitting team with finally the final piece that at least they thought in Jarrett Cole. They need a number 2. They need a number 3. You're not sure about Tanaka. They get hurt way too much with Judge and Stanton. They either hit a home run or tons of home runs and win games. They need more guys like DJ LeMahieu, who they have to resign. This team needs a little bit more work than people think. They weren't just one player away. They're about 2 to 3 players away.
You know, this wasn't a disaster, Pat, because the Yankees in the regular season finished, 8 games behind Tampa in that division.
Yeah, I mean, nothing about this is surprising, right? Like, it's funny, when you guys are baseball nerds, so you understand that there's a little bit of nuance to this game, right? Like, people saw this and were shocked. You're right. It was a full 8 games ahead of the Yankees. And the Yankees really this season, there were people that were questioning whether or not they were going to do anything. There was a time when the Toronto Blue Jays looked like world beaters in the AL East. And if it wasn't for a 4-game series where the Yankees, took control of everything, the Yankees might not have even made the playoffs this offseason. It got pretty crazy.
Yeah, I enjoy the entitlement, especially when that team loses. It's like it's the end of the world in New York City. These are the moments in sports time that I really enjoy. Pat, like it or not, Jeff Van Gundy is being considered as the head coaching candidate, maybe the lead candidate for the Houston Rockets.
Why would Jeff Van Gundy want to do that? So, here's the thing about Jeff Van Gundy. First of all, I find him oddly charming on the NBA broadcast, right? Like, I don't know why, but I like him. Maybe it's the local connection. It's fun. Second, Jeff Van Gundy is kind of lucked into this thing where he's been around doing the broadcast for so long, and there's so much footage of him coaching in a major market when they were having success they haven't had in forever. He's remembered as a better coach than he actually was. Kind of like John Gruden syndrome, right? You're on TV, you say things so people, for your legacy's sake and for your schedule's sake, if I'm Jeff Van Gundy, I'm staying right the heck where I am.
There's so much of this. You see TV guys, media guys, right across sports being reconsidered for, because, like, to Pat's point, they seem to get smarter than they really are when you see them on the air on a regular basis.
All except Mark Jackson, for some strange reason, who can't get an interview anywhere. Ty Lue's probably going to get that job if he hasn't already between now and then. Listen, you got to work through Harden and Westbrook and figure out how to make that dynamic work. They were way too small, so you're going to have to change that roster around. They're a little bit too old, too, so some players are going to have to go. Houston can be changed and can be a good team, but they have to have an identity. I don't know what this team is.
Hey, Tariq, like it or not, I'll change this around a little bit. What we have to look forward to in the NBA next year?
I think they need to do multiple bubbles if they need to. I think that this bold idea, and Anthony Davis said this too, about the Lakers and then possibly not returning to the bubble next year. I don't understand why you can't duplicate the bubble in Los Angeles, in Dallas, Texas, in Atlanta, in New York, in Toronto. And so you can have teams from different regions just go to that bubble for that weekend and then shift them around. I don't understand why this can't be done. You can do what you did in Orlando, just do it in 8 other cities. That's all. It's not that hard. I mean, you could have basketball if you want it.
Like it or not, brought to you by the Ganguly Brothers. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box, Unfinished Business. Time for that, and Pat Duffy starts us off.
It's amazing the difference one player can make to a fan base. And this is a player that hasn't even put on a sweater yet. The Buffalo Sabres fan base was very upset over the last weekend, when NHL free agency started, and the team didn't really do anything. Like nothing at all. They signed a guy that not a lot of people wanted back for more money than he was making the season before. They took a guy who everybody wanted back, and he took less money in another place than he would have in the place in Buffalo. And Sabres fans are ready to revolt. That is until Sunday night, when the Sabres did something they haven't done in a very long time. They signed a big name with legitimate success in the NHL. Taylor Hall, former Hart Trophy winner 2 seasons ago, arguably a top 5 left wing in the NHL, will now be on the left wing of Jack Eichel. Out of nowhere, in a matter of 2 weeks, you have a rock-solid left winger in Hall and a rock-solid second-line center in Stahl, which is what the Buffalo Sabres were hurting for all last season. You could have a top 10 scoring offense with your top 6 in Buffalo next season. You're a goalie possibly away from being a legitimate contender for a playoff spot. And all of that changed the mind of the fan base as to how new general manager Kevin Adams was doing in a matter of like 15, 20 minutes.
Can we do one thing and stop relabeling the asterisk? For some strange reason, I heard one talking head basically say because the Lakers won a championship in the bubble, there should be an asterisk next to it. No, they should actually win 2 championships. You think about all the things that had to go on in order to make this NBA season happen, from the social injustice to all the different things, the ratings going down, players getting injured, opting out, COVID concern, and they win a championship on top of that. I could only deduce one thing. One, the fact that we are now want to relabel an asterisk, which should be for cheaters. I mean, people who use steroids, people who crack cans to signal what pitch is coming, or maybe even people who, I don't know, videotape teams like the New England Patriots. That's what an asterisk really is for. It's not for a team that went through so much to win an NBA championship. Plus, you're in the bubble. All it is basketball. You don't have to travel. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to get tickets for anybody. It's all about ball at that time, which makes the Lakers championship worth it. The only thing I can deduce is that somebody doesn't really like LeBron James, doesn't really like the Lakers, or is trying to keep Michael Jordan's legacy intact. It doesn't matter. The Lakers won their 17th championship, and they deserve it.
More from the COVID games, the things that I liked in the game of baseball. I'm the one guy on the panel, I think, it's safe to say I can watch multiple baseball games start to finish and not be bored out of my skull. But there were some things that I liked that happened this year in baseball that we're probably never going to see again. First of all, the shortened season. Man, 60 games was great. Every game meant something. And I'm not saying that they have to go to this, but wouldn't it be great if the baseball season was like 100, 120 games and things really counted? I love the fact that we were at neutral sites in warm weather buildings. For the postseason especially, that just makes sense. It's baseball in its purest form. Like in other sports, you don't have to deal with things like snow or rain, bad weather. You've got an opportunity to celebrate the World Series by going there and attending for an entire week, the same way they do it with the Super Bowl. And I loved playing in consecutive days. Brought that up already. I think playing baseball every day in a 7-game series in 7 days is the way the game ought to be played. It plays to the things that really make the game the way it is in the regular season. It's not 2 different games. It's baseball in its purest form. Baseball in the year 2020, where everybody was under pressure, they didn't just manage to make it through the season, they made it better. That's Unfinished Business, and that is our show. Guys, thank you very much.
I agree with you. Cut down the Major League Baseball season to 130 games and get them all in during the summer when it's nice and hot.
Pat.
I'm sorry, you said 2 full baseball games and I stopped paying attention. I missed the last part of that thing.
Very good. Guys, we'll see you again next week. All of you, thanks for joining us. And again, we'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.